Hey everybody, Brian Von VA here, back at it again with another set of D&D stories. Today we're going to be talking about moments where you've heard someone say, okay, I'll allow it, part 4. My first character was a half-orc polearm fighter. Ooh, I'm in love already. I just saved the whole party of 5 in a collapsing cave. Nat 20 on a strength check, moved a large stone for them to escape. Failed a dex save last second and got buried in the rubble. Second wind kept me alive, but the party thought I was f***ed into jelly. So they kept running. What a descriptive term. I could see the DM cringing because this next encounter was not meant to be a solo one. And he told me after the session that he didn't want Rohirri to die after saving the whole group from certain death. So I escape the rubble, drink a healing potion, and start looking for an alternate exit. Come to a chasm with a small strip of stone bridge over it. Think Lord of the Rings Gandalf versus the Balrog in Moria. I start to approach it when 8 bandits come into the chamber drawing swords. First one dies instantly. Rohirri doesn't fuck around when it comes to using a glaive with that extra reach. Second one rushes in. He lands a hit after I hit him with an attack of opportunity. Next turn, kill the second one. There's 6 left and the DM knows the pattern will continue until I die. So he stops me and starts rolling a d20. Then he asks me to roll a d20 10 times. If I get 6 rolls higher than 11, I can describe how I kill each one and escape. I nail exactly 6. The fight played out like that slow motion scene from 300 basically. Last guy got grappled and I headbutted his skull apart. Barty finds me barely clinging to life, the bandit leader's head tied to my hip. We turned in the bounty, got the items we needed from a reagent's royal vault, and won the campaign eventually. That was the first and only time I've seen a DM bend the rules in that way. Ended the campaign with the nickname, The Unbroken. My PC build was for crowd control and party defense. Basically a fucking bouncer. Keep the bad guys away from the group. Had 3 more brushes with death that campaign, but they couldn't break me. I have an I'll allow it story to share, if anyone's interested. Well, of course we are. I was DMing a 2-shot game for my parents and younger brother, and they were facing a group of animated weapons homebrewed after making it to the dungeon treasure room. It was funny seeing them confused at the lack of a final boss. What was funnier was how my mom and brother glared daggers at my dad after he ran straight to the weapon rack with the pretty weapons and gave one of them a few test swings. The blade immediately leapt out of his hands and tried to cut him, nearly succeeding. Now my brother, hoping to gain a new weapon, asked if he could try to impress a warhammer that he was especially enamored with, so it would switch sides. He was a fighter with a gladiator background and reasoned that he knew how to do a flashy display of skill, and asked if he could roll for it. Well, I allowed it, asking for a performance check and what he says to the warhammer. He rolled a natural 20. And I bit my tongue because our group uses the critical success failure on skill checks variant rule. He describes how in the middle of combat, how he performs a series of flourishes, spins, and swings, before finishing by pointing at the hammer and saying, "This could be you, baby." On the warhammer's next turn, I describe how it races over to him, knocks the longsword from his hands, and seats itself in his grasp. I quickly draft up the weapon stats on a slip of scrap paper, hand it to him, all while my parents are laughing about how it actually worked. The weapon itself wasn't too crazy, just a +1 warhammer that carried the Throne 2060 property. I would occasionally describe the hammer moving on its own during the next session, like when he caved in an orc's skull and the hammer started bouncing in his grasp, seemingly cheering. So TLDR. Rune Knight Fighter stuffs a man inside his helmet, chaos ensues. Wait, what? So I have a player who tends to be creative. Sometimes this creativity leads to genius moments. Other times, however, it ends up screwing literally everybody else over. Not intentionally, mind you, just coincidentally. Like in one campaign we play in together, his bard used the pyrotechnic spell to make a 20-foot radius of smoke in front of the boss, which the boss then used as cover to jump out the window and teleport to a lower level of the tower we were in, escaping the fight completely unharmed. Oh, but that's not the story I'm here to tell. In the campaign I'm running, this player plays a dwarven rune knight fighter named Thurder. Thurder is crazy, and he loves to go big mode. Give him any reason, he'll pop his giant's might and become Mega Dwarf. Trademarked! In a particularly rough battle, Thurder went big mode and immediately got swarmed by enemies who nearly took him down in one round, but he survived. Did he disengage on his next turn and run for safety? Nope. Did he second wind? Ha! No. Did he attack? Absolutely not. None of the above. This player goes, and I quote, "I'm going to grapple the enemy in front of me and stuff him inside my helmet." Me as the DM, what? After reconsidering all my life choices, I said, okay, I'll allow it, if you can roll high enough. It wasn't a nat 20, but after bonuses, it was something like 30. They were level 9 at the time this happened. Now the dwarf has a man stuffed inside his helmet, bones broken, struggling to get out, but the giant dwarf is holding his helmet like a football, with a giant thumb holding the man inside it. And then, on his next turn, his player goes, "I drop out of giant's might." Me, as the DM again, wait, Yep, everything goes back to normal size. Ah, fuck. Now I have to describe the agonizing scream as this man feels what it's like to be a 1970 Volkswagen Beetle that's been shoved into a car crusher. So, that's how one of my players took an enemy and turned him into paste. "Hello, my name is Thurder. I would like to sell you human toothpaste." To make this clear, this was a completely homebrew campaign, and we went by a "if you ask and it doesn't break in-game physics, you can roll for it" rule. So the character had a 2 dexterity, 4 agility, and 18 strength. My god, what a difference. On a mission to get an ultra-rare magic vest for him, magic was disappearing from the world, that gave plus 10 to both agility and dexterity, the two characters, Ranger with the low stats, and a Berserker Bard mixed called a Doom Singer, decided just to eat lunch. I, the GM, was told, I rolled to sit on the cart. He rolled a nat 1 on both agility and dexterity checks, and a 2 on his strength check. The Doom Singer misses his assist roll. The 3 hidden tailing NPCs who the party was meant to fight missed their assist rolls. They were going to test not kill the PCs. And the Ranger manages to fail or crit fail 7 different death saves. I was asked, what happens to the Ranger now? So I rolled him against the 8 paths of life and death. He broke the afterlife. As in, it started a new quest line to help fix the afterlife. Every single god in game gave them boons to help. As to what happened to the Ranger, he went floating in the void between worlds, where the party of a different campaign met him almost 3 years after this event. As a level 6 druid, my group and I saved a young prince who had been cursed with the were-tiger curse. I, as an avid shapeshifter, said to my DM, I believe I would be able to control the change to werewolf. After many rolls and a few nat 20s, the DM sighed and said, fine. The DM then pulled me aside after the session and told me that if I were to take 22 damage or more in a single hit, I would lose control and attack anyone nearby. After a few sessions, my DM pulled me aside and said I was also now immune to non-magic attacks. I became the great tank for the most fights, even being able to out-tank the Goliath paladin we had. When we got to the big bad evil guy, which was an ancient demon trying to break through into the mortal world, I stood tall in front of the altar and summoned moonlight around the portal, preventing him from coming through completely as my team behind me lobbed shots at his arms as they tried to claw through the portal. That fight was the end of the campaign, and the DM stated my character must guard this location to prevent this ancient evil from coming through. Forever. My first instance of this annoyed the DM so much. We were fighting a dragon from a ship. We needed to use cannons to attack it, dealing 2d12 each. One player would aim the cannon and roll the attack. The other firing it would roll the damage. I had joined partway through this campaign. At this point, we were all level 7. I asked if I could apply sneak attack when I aimed the cannon, not realizing that rogues roll several dice for sneak attack as nobody actually went full rogue before, only mixed fighters, and he allowed it. The dragon went down almost immediately, nearly killed the fighter who jumped on its back. Sadly, the DM thought that this would take most of the session and just didn't know what to do afterwards. Not the most spectacular moment, but it led to me losing my doing things privileges for a while, as the DM was probably worried I'd make a pun. How appropriate, we had just made one of these not 2 hours ago. I'm playing in a game DM'd by one of the players in my own campaign. His first time DMing, though he has an astoundingly good teacher who's really smart and awesome and cool and dashingly handsome, and there are 2 newbies to the game. We decided it might be fun to have me play a homebrew class, Vigilante, by Mark Sherlock Holmes from High Rollers. One of the Vigilante subclasses gets to choose 2 devices at level 3. Once per long rest each, I can use items like a portable hand glider, gas grenade, flamethrower. The important one here is, I had a grapple launcher, think Batman. As a bonus action, it allows me to shoot any solid surface I can see within 30 feet, and I move to it, all without provoking attacks of opportunity. One of the party members, a gnome, was surrounded by thugs, while me and the other party members were hidden some 45 feet away in alleys. I went first on the initiative. The course of action I proposed was, I shoot the grapple towards the gnome, he grabs it with a reaction, then instead of pulling myself in, I use myself as the anchor and pull the gnome out of the ambush. Then we bailed as fast as we could. The DM took like 5 to 10 minutes improvising this battle map and populating it, and I resolved the encounter in practically less than a round. Hey, good thinking on your part. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid. Please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and of course, leave a comment down below letting us know what a DM may or may not have allowed in your campaign. I love you all. Please be safe, happy, healthy, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.